What is good, everyone? Some of you are still rolling in. You probably saw in the Discord or on Patreon. Basically, today we're going to be going over our initial reaction to USDGC. We're going to also react to Simon's... Wow, that scared me. I have my phone audio on. We're also going to be reacting to Simon's newest video. He did another ranking video. We reacted to the last one. Y'all seem to like that. This one's ranking the top 32 players from their putting. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little tired today, so I got my coffee from my brother's coffee shop. It's way overexposed. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There it is, third wave. Some of you roll in. We'll get started here in a second.
I just want to say that if Simon Lizotte has the audacity to rank him in one of the higher putting categories, I won't tolerate it.
So do you want to jump into that first, or... You know what? I actually want to tease something first, because there's not a lot of you in here, and I want to reward the people who got in here early. Not really tease something. I want to get your opinion on something. So Trevor and I are thinking through... I don't even know if Trevor knows what I'm about to say. I'm sure he does. We're thinking through starting up something here.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I just want to know if there's any interest in it. Basically, we're going to start up. We already have the channel created. But we're going to start Foundation Gaming, where just Trevor and I, once a week, I think was the plan.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
We'll see what happens.
Just stream us playing video games. Warzone, a little FIFA, some Fall Guys, maybe some Among Us.
I got a spoiler for you. The new FIFA is awful.
Is it bad?
I hate it. I don't like it at all. It's not fun.
You said you were playing it a ton.
I mean, yeah.
It just isn't good.
Yeah, it sucks.
So if you would tune in, comment that down below. Let us know. Regardless, we're probably going to go for it, because even if we stream to one person, it's an excuse for us to play video games and our wives or fiance not be able to say anything because, hey, we're working. So that's the real motivation behind it. But if you guys think you would enjoy it, let me know in the comments so that
we're really swamped at work, man.
I think it'd be fun. And we have the Wi-Fi here, I think, to successfely do it. So
we
might as well.
NASA with this Wi-Fi.
We might as well do it. I think without further ado, let's get this Simon video queued up. Let me make sure it's working.
Mr. Lizotte.
I'm going to unprofessionally lean forward again because my capture card is yet again late.
In the mail.
It's in the mail, and it's Columbus Day, so mail isn't apparently running today. So it's going to be in tomorrow. So next week, you'll be able to actually have the full view. My laptop will be here so I can moderate stuff. It'll be way better. For right now, I got to lean forward. Make sure this audio is working now. I'm going to hit play and then we'll worry about it.
I can't hear him. There he is.
Let me turn this up.
So I thought, why not be productive and make a video that has been requested a couple times. Joining me today is one of the best putters in the world at the moment, Eagle McMahon.
Correct
Yeah,
statement.
we don't know yet. We haven't ranked it. If any of the 30
You better blow that
players,
up, Mr. Lizotte.
He will.
Watch this. This is not a stab at you. It's a stab at your game.
Oh, jeez, getting hot right from the start.
All right, the tiers are, I have 1, 2, 3, which is, in my opinion, or our opinion, we'll see, maybe we'll have to find some compromises, but the 3 best putters in the world.
Oh, so one person goes in each.
Then I have almost top 3, which means this is really close, and we're not sure if they would make the top 3, but it's close enough.
I'm fascinated.
And then next tier is the strongest part of the game, which obviously means that putting is kind of what they're known for, that they're really good at putting, and it kind of saves them on the course a lot. Then we have
Someone
solid.
said, so is Trev going straight into the bottom tier, or...
I'm not even
all
on
around
this.
solid, good,
I'm like
awesome
hanging
play.
on to that
It's
bottom tier.
not
Weakest
great,
part of
but
their
also
game?
not bad.
Yeah.
And then the last and
It is
worst
definitely the weakest
tier
part.
that I chose is weakest part of
No,
the
if
game,
y'all saw the
which is
video from
brutal.
yesterday or
Pretty
whenever,
brutal, but I mean,
Saturday, then you
I
know
think
what the
there's a
weakest
couple
part of my
guys,
game is.
maybe including me, we have to talk
Rollers.
about that, which is like maybe the weakest part of their game and kind of cost them a couple of strokes.
I feel like weakest part of the game is like
so without
a way
any
to
further
cop
ado,
out where you don't
how
offend
about
anyone.
that?
Because your game's strong.
You're right. That's very intelligent from Mr. Lizotte there.
Yeah.
All
I'm gonna
let's
stop calling
go
him Simon. He's
back
just
to
Mr.
front,
Lizotte from now.
Which means we're starting off with Ricky Wysocki.
Ooh, is Ricky in the
He-
top
He
three?
used to
One
be
of
top
the
3.
Ricky used to be one,
best putters
in my opinion.
ever
Yeah.
in disc golf, and
He's still
We're
probably
saying
top
he's
Still
3.
up there.
I would put him on number 1.
Oh, he would still put him in number 1.
Yes.
I would.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If we were making this list in 2017, absolutely.
That's what I was
Number
saying.
one.
Not
Really?
anymore.
Yes.
I would say he's
But
maybe
not
3.
now. Of course, he's a great.
I'd put
putter.
him 3.
Who
would
is
put
your
him in the
top
top three,
3?
though.
Because like Heimberg, man.
At the
Are we
moment,
pausing this and giving our list first?
Really? Almost
Yeah,
top
wait,
3.
pause it real quick.
Almost.
Just
I
our
put him
top
almost-
3.
All right,
My
let's
top,
hear yours.
my top 3. Let me think through it here. Let me lean forward.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't have to look at the pictures to know your top 3.
I want to make sure I don't miss anybody.
It's tough now that I'm thinking through it.
All right, my top 3 is in no. I can't give a particular order.
No. There's a 1, 2, and a 3.
All right. Number 1 is
Nah.
Eagle. Number 2, Paul. Number 3, Calvin. Calvin just doesn't.
Eagle number 1.
Yeah, because I think he's like very versatile. I mean him and Paul can go back and forth, but like, dude, Eagle doesn't miss, and neither does Calvin.
I feel like Calvin doesn't miss.
Calvin doesn't
I
miss,
feel
but I
like
don't
right
think he's as
now-
versatile though. I don't think Calvin's gonna step out and throw an anti putt like 90 feet around a tree. But yeah, if Calvin's like staring at the basket from inside of 50 feet, dude's not missing.
All right, I'm going current list. Calvin Heimberg number 1.
Fair.
I'm going. Dang. It is tough. I do think we got to put Paul in the top 3. Is he number 2?
Ricky was so good. Honestly, Ricky's very close to 3 for me. He's very close.
I feel like we just haven't seen as much Rick this year, so it's
I
hard to
know.
it's hard to tell.
I've still seen him drop some bombs.
All right, I'm going Calvin, Paul, Eagle.
Okay.
I do think the top 3 is right.
Yeah.
Will Eagle put himself in the top 3?
Yeah.
Do you think he does?
Oh, for sure.
Top 3.
Really?
Yes, I play with Ricky a lot, and he's heating up, but he's someone who misses more inside the circle putts than I would think of someone of his putting caliber.
Wow.
Yeah, these days I feel like he does.
So we're do we have to make a compromise?
We can switch stuff around later.
Because I know my top 3 for sure.
Someone put James
Okay.
in the comments
All right,
up there.
maybe we
He's
can
just not
switch
this
things
year.
around
A couple
later.
years ago,
I'll
yeah,
just put Ricky
James
right now
was
in
probably like my 1 or 2 a couple
almost
years ago.
top 3. I think he belongs in the top 3.
Yeah, he's definitely on the
I
fence.
kind of like to think about it like this. Like, what if you had to have someone make a 40-footer to save your life? Would you want Ricky to step up and make
No,
it?
I'd want
Paul.
Paul. I'd want Paul.
I want Paul.
Even though he's not number 1.
Yeah, I want Paul every time.
Just 'cause of ice in his veins.
Yeah.
But we'll see. All right, up next
Or
we
Calvin
have
even.
Paul.
I want Eric Oakley.
This is where it gets tough.
Paul is tough. He's switched his
He's
putting game
trash.
so many times,
What?
and obviously Paul
Yuli
is
used to be.
His
either
anti putter.
on
Yeah,
and
it
really
used to be
good,
dirty. Did he switch back?
or like
No, he still just putts.
pretty.
I think he's a good
struggling
putter.
on
He's
the
not a
putting
horrible
green.
putter. He's not trash.
He was dirty on Annie.
Trash
then
in
he-
relation to what?
That
His first-
far, is
Yeah,
it
I know.
solid.
The other guys.
Solid.
Okay.
His first Heiser putt was awful.
Yeah.
He switched.
It was, like,
his putt up.
bad.
When he used to do his little Anheuser putt, he hurt his hand. I think he broke his wrist, and he couldn't release a putt on a Heiser. But he's done physical therapy. He's brought his Heiser putt back.
That's interesting. I
And
didn't know
now he's pretty consistent on making the putts he needs to. So I put him in solid.
All right, I can't.
I think
agree
that's
with that.
fair.
Let's put Paul.
It's not the
Bueller
weakest-
in solid. Which brings us to
His
Terry
sidearm's probably weaker.
Yeah.
Roethlisberger.
I don't know.
I don't know anything about
Terry.
him. This is the same thing from
I've
last
only
video.
played with him once. I haven't seen his game all that much.
Same. I played with him in Maine.
Just
last
slide
week,
it
and
into
he made
solid
pretty
and
much
move
every
on.
putt. I was impressed.
So he's a really good player.
I don't know, I
He's
feel
in
like
the
for a
top
lower-
32 of the Pro Tour
A
points.
lower name
Yeah.
player
If
to
you
be up
recall,
there,
the
They have
last
to be
ranked
good
they have to be a
players.
good putter.
Or they smash.
so far.
But
That
even
means-
that doesn't do you any good on
It's
tour.
definitely
They
not
probably
the
are all
strongest
good
part of
putters.
the game. That's sidearms. Not the weakest, which is probably backhand. So,
So he's got to be solid.
I think that everyone's going to be in solid.
A lot of people are going to be in solid. All right, then we have Gavin Rathbun, which is, for me, tough because I haven't played with Gavin in a long time.
I have no idea.
And I have to correct myself from last video. Obviously, he's from the Chicago area, and he's also on Team Discmania, which completely lost my mind last time, and I apologize to any Gavin fans, which I
Yikes.
include myself in now that
Tough
I'm
scene.
not really a Gavin fan. Team Discmania, his putting game, do you know? Probably just solid.
We have to put him in solid. We can't
Yeah.
we can't say it's the weakest part.
I
of
mean,
his game.
I have no arguments.
Eric.
Oh, jeez, that was loud.
I get excited every time this guy pops up on the
Really?
list.
Yeah, I've played with Eric a bunch.
What's
and
his putting like?
What's
I
the-
don't. I
His
definitely
forehand's
don't think it's the
good.
weakest part of his game.
What is the strongest part of Eric's game?
Forehand.
Sidearm?
Yeah.
What's his weakest part? Mental?
His backhand.
That's rich. That is so rich coming from you, Simon.
Eric's a
After
solid
that little
player. I'd give
teenage
him
girl
that.
Insta story post.
Colton Montgomery, another Team Discmania
See,
shout
Monty.
out. Colorado boy.
Man, this is a tough list. It's too vague of categories.
But he didn't know.
Yeah,
They
I'm
should have
only
put
re-
like tiers, like they did for distance.
You know, Colton is. It's also just solid. I don't definitely not his strongest part.
I'm interested.
Anyway, moving on. This
How'd he get him to
is-
move up there so
Is it
fast?
Noah?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is Noah Mindsma.
I'm really
He
interested in the
kinda has
top
this
3 though.
lofty
I am
hyzer
too.
putt.
I've played with Noah twice this year, and I actually remember being surprised how good his putting was.
I mean,
Again,
all
another
these
one of the
guys are good
players-
putters.
another
That's
good
what
But I
player
think
that,
this
like,
might be the strongest. part
He's
of his
not known for it,
Maybe.
and like, or he's not a well-known player, so he has to be a good putter.
Yeah.
All right, Noah, you got it. The strongest part of your game is
Oh,
putting.
strongest part of his game.
game. Okay, I'm not going
That's
to
a big
comment on
compliment.
myself. I'm pulling my hat down, and you're going to put me where you think.
Really?
I'm not going to comment on my putting.
Okay.
So-
Like, give me a break.
Top 3 right now. Obviously, we're
That's
gonna
why
have to
Eagle
put
McMahon
Eagles
can't
there.
win.
I was gonna
Eagles
put
gotta be in the
Westlock
top
up
3.
there as well.
This is why Eagle
And then
McMahon
there's a
can't win. He has no
handful of guys
confidence.
That could be third or could be almost top 3. And Eagles putting is
Guy's on his
so
way over to
annoyingly
drop
good
off my
right now.
mantis, so this will be
Like,
interesting.
almost doesn't
What?
really matter
Guy's
where
on his
you
way
throw
over to
it.
drop
I
off
think
my
every time
mantis.
you're gonna make it.
Oh.
Which almost might put you in almost top 3 or third. You gotta say something about yourself.
He's gonna put him in top 3 or third. I'd put
Would
him
you put
first
yourself
or second.
next to Waisaki or above Waisaki right now?
I'll just say this: I'm top in 2019. I was the best Circle 1X putter, and this year I'm top 5 in Circle 1X and Circle 2X, and that's all I'm gonna say.
So you're speaking straight stats.
So he
straight
knows where he
stats.
belongs.
Wow. Okay,
You
I'm
can't
not
say
gonna
that's not
argue that.
confidence.
So I'm gonna put Eagle. in
Being the
third
best Circle
right now.
1X
We can still
putter
move it later
pretty much
if
makes you
we
the best
not
putter in the
happy,
world,
but
to be
I'm gonna
honest.
put you in third right now.
Because like if you
Well,
All
the
like
circle
that.
2 is factored in.
Freaking
It's gotta
Circle
be.
2 is so
Obviously,
vague.
When he's in McBeast mode, he
Let's see where he puts
is
Paul.
the best putter of all time. Consistently,
Well, okay.
he's really good. I've seen him have some couple bad rounds, but all in all, definitely top 3.
He's definitely top 3,
Yeah.
but lately he said his putting is trash.
That's so
Paul's
funny.
game. Of course, every part of his game is good,
Yeah, really. I mean, world class.
but I think
Are-
putting is the weakest part of his game.
They're gonna put him in the weakest part. That's
Really?
That's such a finesse. They're just
Wow.
scared of
Paul-
ranking Paul. 'Cause
All parts of his game are good,
Yeah.
but I think it's the weakest part of his game.
Okay, well, what would you
No,
say is the
yeah,
weakest part of
okay,
Paul's
alright.
game?
That's
Maybe
forehand
that's
right now.
true. But I have to put it in the top 3.
As forehand's
Paul misses
been
a
weaker
lot
to
of
me.
short putts.
This year, yeah, he has kind of.
There's many arguments. Paul has been.
Who else?
I can
best
see
player
Eagles' argument.
for the
Yeah.
last.
If he's
10
not
years,
in the top 3,
I think
He-
without a doubt.
based on the
Yeah.
categories here,
And
you can
he's
fit into like
hit
2 or
some
3
crazy
different
putts to win
categories.
tournaments.
Yeah.
So like Ricky could be almost top 3 and strongest part of his game. Paul could be almost top 3 and weakest part of his
It's
game.
interesting.
All right, I'll keep it like this for now. I think he was.
If he's not in the top
okay.
3, he should be
According
almost
to
top 3.
stats,
But if he goes into weakest
I
part
don't
of his
think
game, like
he's that great of a putter. But when the pressure is high, he will make the putt when he needs to.
I think that qualifies for one.
I
of the
would
best
I would
in the
take
world.
Paul to, if there's anybody in the world to save my life with a 40-footer, I'd probably
That was
pick
the
Paul, even though
rules they came
I
up
think
with.
putting is the weakest part of his game.
All right, Andrew Marweed.
We're about to get absolutely soft.
Yeah,
this
he's
guy.
coming to all eyes, dude.
This guy's
He's
killing
gonna
smack
us.
us around.
You guys can
solid.
visit our
Actually,
gravestones in a few weeks
Is this
from when
the
Andrew
strongest part of his
Marweed
game,
ends us.
It might be. When I played with him, his putting was.
This guy's gonna be throwing hyzers down our throats.
Really
he
good.
throws forehands like
But he's
nobody's business.
I don't think he's the strongest part of his game because I think his forehand is.
I'd put him in solid because his
I think his
forehand's
forehand's very good.
insane,
I
so-
I put him in solid.
and he's not a
All
top
right, I
3.
agree. Andrew Marweed solid, and then we have Nico.
Nico.
Castro. We need an extra tier for
not the weakest
Nico
part of his
for
game.
best practice putter in the world.
He is the best practice putter. in the world.
Whenever you watch Nico warm up with just practice putt, he has like a stack of 10 putters. He does not miss the basket ever. But then as soon as the tournament
That's electrifying.
starts, I think he just overthinks stuff.
Let,
Yeah,
takes too
let
much
the mystery
time
of
sometimes.
Nico Castro.
And then obviously the more you think, the more things can go wrong.
Nico
So,
throws a
I
really
gotta
good
go
putt.
by
I'll say that.
tournament
Like he throws a very
performance here.
consistent putt.
He's one of these guys who
His
could be
misses
top
look
3,
good.
Is it the
and
weakest
sometimes
part
it
of his
is.
game?
Sidearm.
Sidearm. So he's got to be
I
solid.
agree.
Yeah.
He can be one of the best, and he can be one of the worst.
Yeah,
Solid.
10 years ago, obviously.
So that
he
balances
was
They
top
should have done
3.
best to
That
worst because
balance
everyone's
out.
just going to fall into solid.
Solid?
Solid's like their worst category.
Ridiculous.
We gotta put someone in the weakest part of the game.
Look who's next.
It can't be Paul. Oh, that's me. Hold on. Okay, so here's the deal.
That's awesome.
I always used to be a good putter when I was
Is
younger.
is his putting the weakest
I
part of
think
his
my
game?
first couple years on
His
tour, I
sidearm
was
is.
So he goes in
solid.
Well,
solid.
it's you
It was
can't
never
weigh
the
like a
strongest
sidearm and a
game. It was
putt
always distance
necessarily.
And just like
Simon
scrambling.
throws a really good putt too. Like
So I would have to
Simon
go
from like
solid
60
or
feet and
I'm gonna
out
put myself
is
in
really
weakest part.
good. I feel
Okay.
like because he throws a nice spin putt.
At this time right now, 100%.
Well, you got to think of like
No, he thinks his putting the weakest part.
weakest part of someone's game. Like, it'd be easy to say, let's take James Conrad, for example. It'd be easy to say the weakest part of his game is a sidearm, but is a sidearm really a part of his game?
Wow.
Like,
Ooh.
That's
now,
big
sidearm's
brain
not
energy
really
from
a part
Eagle.
of their
That's
game.
genius.
So I would agree that putting is probably the weakest part of it.
Yeah. Or putting is not even part of my game.
Putting's definitely a part of your game.
That's
like
a
That's
great
smart.
point.
That's a smart little finesse
Okay,
around that.
Eagle.
Kale
You're humble. I like it.
Leviska. Solid. The best part of his game is accuracy.
Solid's way too vague of a
staying in
category.
bounds and playing safe. And his putting is definitely not bad. Definitely not the weak part.
I feel like nothing in this video is gonna be triggering because it's
Sure.
like, yeah, solid.
Germ's the weakest part of his game.
You know, Jerem,
It's got to be.
the last time I played with Jerem was
He
the
looks
final
terrified
of
when he
the
releases a
this
putt,
year,
or at least he used to. I
and
don't
he
know if
made
it's changed
every
much.
single putt. And he had like
Maybe it's changed.
3 outside circle 2 putts. That was close to like 60, 70 footers. And it was mind blowing. Obviously, as I already said, anyone that's on can be like the best in the world in this group of players.
That's a valid
But
point too.
consistently wise, I would put German next to me.
I wouldn't say it's the weakest part of his game because I'd say it's his backhand.
His backhand's decent.
Yeah.
I feel like his
I also
backhand isn't
don't
that bad.
I don't
say
think so either.
Solid all the time.
All right, we need to fill up the weakest part of the game a bit more.
Sorry, Germ.
Kyle Klein.
It's your clone.
Kyle.
Eagle
K-Line.
2.0.
Kyle Kaline. We played with him yesterday.
He's solid.
I mean, he's an up-and-comer, young gun, and obviously he's one of the best young players out there right now in the world, and he's definitely a solid putter. Emerson Keith. I think
He's
he
a
would
filthy
put
putter.
himself in weakest part of his game.
You know, Emerson, he drains putts. There's no doubt
Emerson's
about
a
that.
dirty
At
putter.
Worlds,
Yeah, I was
he
gonna say. I think his
higher,
forehand's
and
the
he hit
weakest
every
part of his
putt.
game.
Yeah.
I think it's
I mean-
the weakest part of his game. I can't
would
put him
agree.
as solid.
I would agree, and I'm
Despicable.
sure
What?
Emerson would also agree.
All right, there you go, Emerson. There's some fire for you to go hit the practice basket and prove us wrong.
Kevin USA Jones.
Weakest part of his game.
I'm going.
Is
Kevin
it-
Jones is two different putters. You have outside the circle Kevin and inside the circle Kevin.
Yeah,
No, it's still
Inside the
just
circle Kevin
putting.
is the weakest part of his game. Outside the circle Kevin,
best part of his game.
best part of his game.
I don't know if
Yeah,
outside the
I
circle's the
almost
best
put
That
part of
was
his
me
game.
for a while. I used to be so good at outside the
Yeah,
circle
I
and
mean, right
awful
now, Kevin
inside.
obviously is killing it. I would agree playing almost top 3.
Really?
Oh, and Calvin is another guy that
Almost
could-
top 3. What just
I
happened?
believe he's almost top 3.
Yeah,
He's very consistent.
he's definitely above solid.
Who is
Who
there?
was their number
I
one
wouldn't
then?
necessarily say
AB.
the strongest part of his game, but I would put him right there. I think that's a
Then
good
who's
putter
taking
right
number
there.
one?
Somebody. That means somebody's gonna be
Austin
surprising.
Hannum.
Either that or they're moving
He's been
around.
fluffing those putts lately.
I haven't.
He said
I
he's
played with
flopping those
Austin
putts
so
for you.
much.
Well, Eagle said he knew who his
Played
top
with
3
him.
was,
I played
and I
with him
think
rounds
he
in
was
Vermont.
unsure about Paul.
And
He
putting
knew
was
he
not
was in
the
it, and
strong
he didn't
part.
fight for anybody else to
That
be
was
in
the
it.
weakest part of his game.
So-
at least in Vermont.
Somebody's about to shock us.
I don't know how he's been feeling since. He could be in solid, but for me, noticeably it was the weakest part of his game. So I'm gonna put him right here. Sorry,
I'm trying to think of the other
And
putters on there.
Adam Hammis. So
He's a good
That's
putter.
a tricky one because he's known for making big putts.
Long
He's
putts.
so,
Yeah.
Story.
that guy flies under the
Let's talk
radar.
about
He
my
just
friend.
finished
Not
10th.
only that, he's known for making long putts in
Stayed
a
with
foundation
Adam
disc
Hammis
golf
last
hat.
year at the Hall of Fame Classic. He
Yeah,
went
he
into
is.
a playoff with Calvin Heimberg, and Adam Hammis was.
How did we get him that hat?
Up saying,
He stopped
I'm
by
the
here,
best
picked up a
putter
few
in the
Crystal
world.
Raptors. I gave him like 3 hats.
That's
Strongest
right.
part of the game.
That's
Now he's
the-
sponsored by
it's the
Resistance
strongest part of the
Discs.
game.
I agree.
Jeff
Adam
Corrin
goes
swiped him
against
from me.
Noah. Strongest part of the game, putting. And then we
That's
have
where I would've put
Garrett.
him.
Double G.
Double G.
Not the strongest part of his game.
It's the weakest part of it.
You guys say is it
I would
weakest or is
agree,
his?
he's all around such a
How's
good
his
player,
forehand?
and his putting is
It's not
kinda
part of
like-
his game.
He makes a lot of putts. Like he's
He'll make putts, but of course, like if you compare it to any other,
Everyone on this
of
list will
one
make
of his
putts.
assets,
Yeah, no kidding. I'll make
it's
putts,
not
too.
there.
all right.
Sometimes.
Love the guy though.
Yeah. Yeah, how about you replay a few hours ago back in your head? I can think of a
Those
couple.
are too crazy like me out there.
He needs to control his inner child.
Yeah.
Who?
Putting is
Thomas
solid,
Gilbert.
Solid though.
though. Yeah. I don't think we can argue too much about Thomas.
Did you just call him a child?
Drew Gibson.
Weakest
Wow.
part of
Weakest
his
part of his
game.
game.
I wonder where Drew would put himself on this list.
He's got to be the weakest
2020
part of
world
the game.
champ.
He's even in a Pro Tour interview. He said like his
Sidearm,
if he
though.
can putt.
He barely uses his
He said if he can
sidearm.
putt,
That's
then
not-
he's in
that's not part of
contention.
his game.
It's not really, no.
And his sidearm's okay. Like it's pretty
Right.
good. It's better than his putting.
I would agree. I'm pretty sure he would also agree. Ezra, man. We just hung out with
I
him.
don't actually know that much
yesterday-
about Ezra.
yesterday? Yeah.
Mhm.
He can't be that
Awesome
good.
guy.
I know that
and,
apparently
I
he
really
tours in a
hope
Prius because
he
I've
comes to Team
been flamed for
Pennsylvania,
that.
but
People thought I was
he's
talking
getting
about
a
him.
lot of offers
So I know that much
So
about him.
over this
insensitive.
offseason, so we'll see.
Oh, James is
Just
still on the
trying to
list,
play
and
with
so is
Maine also,
Dickerson. I
and-
bet you.
Dickerson
Dickerson
could get up there in the top 3. I
Makes
thought
some
about
big
him.
Putts, great par saves. But he also was
I'm
He's
bet-
one of those like
some
under the
putts,
radar.
putts.
I'm betting there
players on
about. I'm
everything.
betting there about to
Yeah,
toss
he's
James
definitely
onto the
solid.
number
All right,
one
let's put him
spot.
solid for now.
I just don't think so after this year.
Chris freaking Dickerson.
You know he's.
Robot chicken.
Top 3, maybe.
Can I put him next to 3? I think he's top 3.
I can put him next to you for now.
Yes.
All right. Chris is a freaking robot on the putting green.
Yeah, he's
outside
filthy.
the circle, like Kevin, kind of better than inside the circle, but even inside, he like very.
His little
rarely
step putt
misses.
outside the circle.
James Conrad, another guy.
James is an incredible putter.
I would put him.
Incredible. Definitely the strongest part of his game.
No, his
His
backhand.
Top
backhand
three?
is
No.
I'd go
I think
solid.
he deserves a spot next to
I'd say
Solid
he's
or almost top
almost
3.
top 3.
One of those two.
There can only be one person in 1, 2, and 3.
Really?
I go solid
Yeah,
or
we're
almost
gonna
top
have
3.
to have one person, 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. That's the top 3.
I would.
I'd put him
I would
almost.
argue.
Let's put James next to Chris right now, and then we can decide when we have the whole picture.
Okay.
Chris Clemens.
Who are they holding number 1 for?
He's known for his
Nobody.
jumpers.
Philo.
Yeah.
No
I
luck
played
to
him
follow.
today as well,
Follow.
and
AB.
I was
Strongest-
very
The
impressed.
strongest part of the game is his sidearm. But
Putting-
all around, he's solid.
Chris Clemens
Backhand is
goes in
probably the
solid.
weakest. I'd go with a solid putter. Definitely a solid putter.
Jordan Castro. I remember Jordan having struggles.
Really?
Yes.
I don't really know
So
much
much
about Jordan's
so
game.
that I think he's made some posts about it,
So he's on MVP now?
saying that it's
Right?
his weak.
Didn't he leave DD? Or no, DD.
That number one spot.
DD let him
Well,
go.
people always feel
That
like
number
it's their
one
weakest
spot
part.
is for
Putting
Raven
is the
Newsom.
most important part in disc golf. And if you're not playing,
He's not even on
golf,
there.
I
you're
haven't,
playing.
I haven't
That's
played
the
with
joke.
Jordan.
He
in a
won the
long
collegiate
time, so I can't
putting
really
thing, though.
comment on
Yeah,
it.
he's trying to put it on a
He's
disc.
filthy.
It's somewhere
Yeah,
between
he doesn't
solid
miss.
and weakest
I beat him
part of
once.
Their game.
It's not a big
All
deal.
right, weakest part. Eagle chooses Philo.
It's so
Solid.
It is solid.
Weakest part of his game is
It's
his
just all
forehand. I
around
guess it's
solid.
not part of his
Yeah.
game.
I would almost say it's the strongest part of his game. Almost.
His-
maybe.
I feel like his backhand's the strongest part of his
He's
game.
pretty accurate. His backhand mids are nice.
rock shots,
Yeah.
like smooth, silky rock shots.
This guy
All right,
got
Philo.
a PhD in disc golf analysis.
Now we have the putting world champion.
Matt Bell.
The strongest,
Strongest part of his game, and just leave it there.
It is definitely, but I would.
Do
when I
not
think
do
about
not put him in the almost top
him,
3.
He makes so many putts.
Do
it's
not.
insane.
Don't.
I would almost put him in the top 3.
No.
It's one of the two.
Like the reason
He's it's
is
the
in
strongest part of his
contention in
game.
most tournaments is because he makes so many insane
Every
putts.
time, like he's up on, Chase or
The thing about these
Clark,
like putting world championships is like
making
No,
every
they're
Paul's
closed
not
out.
there, Ricky's not there,
Alright,
Chris ain't
almost top
there,
3,
Eagle's normally not there, Simon's not there.
Matt
Like
Bell. Did we say his name? It's Matt
someone outside the top 15 is gonna
I
win
didn't
it.
think Jay
Champion
Yeti Reddy
Greg
won for him.
Barsby.
Yeah.
Yeah, the aviators are sick though.
Greg also kind of like Garrett Gerthy has like.
Greg was when he won the world title, he was like
somehow more often than not
unreal.
finds the
But the issue is
When it's off, it's bad.
when you throw a putt that high, it can't be consistent.
no kidding.
Kind of like everyone
His
else.
putt's ugly.
Yeah, but
When it goes in, it goes
Greg's
in. But
peaks and valleys are
When it goes in, it goes
I mean, that's exactly what they're
higher
saying right
and
now.
Lower than most people.
I would put the weakest part of his game, to be honest.
All right. Where we go
So
with
Eagle said he knew who
Why
his
do they
top
keep
three.
going solid?
He said he knew who his top three was, yet he.
What's
I think it
Barsby's
was
weakest
already
part of his
lost.
game?
Weakest part.
I have no idea.
His backhand's really good. His forehand's
Obviously,
dirty.
He's a freaking maniac of
Putting.
disc golfer, and he is
Unless you want to
insanely
like
good at
overhand in
everything.
there.
Eagle was acting all confident, like he knew who his
But,
top three was, and he didn't
whenever
make a
he
case
doesn't
for
shoot
anybody to
it,
be number
tends to
one.
integrated
So
round.
he must think himself
Tends
is
to
number
play.
one.
Because he
Eagle.
drills
Which is
the
fair.
putter at the basket.
Yeah.
If he misses,
I mean, that's
it
what I
goes, like,
said. I said
40 to
Eagle,
50
Paul
feet
Calvin.
past. All
They
right,
put
guys,
AB as
we
weakest
need-
part of their game.
We need a number one.
That's not.
All right, this is
And
where
we need to
things can
clean
get
up the number
spicy.
three
AB has no
spot.
weaknesses.
Let's do it like this. Who would you
Except for
rather-
apparently Winthrop
let's
Gold's
go
on
as
day
one
2.
versus one. Who would you rather make a putt
Or 3 or 4.
on Circle's Edge for your life?
If
You
it's
or Paul?
circle's edge for your
You
life,
might pick me.
Okay, so you think you're a better player than Paul?
I picked me because
it should be the most
Tough
consistent. It shouldn't be who's going to make the
Who would
one putt.
you rather have to make a putt?
Yeah, that's measuring a different.
I would probably put Eagle up there.
Paul.
Paul. I'm just gonna put you in one right now and Paul here. Who would you rather make a putt for your life, Chris or Conrad?
Chris.
People,
Chris.
what do you think? Who would you rather have a putt from 30 feet to save your life?
That's a good top
Chris
3.
Dickerson
Eagle, Paul,
or James
Chris.
Conrad?
But is Ricky a
I'm gonna
better
stick-
putter than
I'm gonna
Chris?
stick with Chris. It's my
No.
channel.
Not
Okay.
right now.
All right, then we have Chris Dickerson or Ricky Wysocki. Kind of, yes.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Ricky is freaking
I'd agree with that.
amazing at putting.
But I'd put Calvin over Rick.
And I think these belong
Yeah.
in the almost top 3.
You
Some
wouldn't
might
put
be the
Calvin
top
over
3.
Rick? I mean, it's
On
not
some
that
days
much
they
of a
definitely
criminal
are.
thing,
It's
but
not
like,
that list isn't that bad, but it also wasn't very edgy.
Let me
No.
sort these. Would I rather want Paul or you to make a putt for the top 3? To save my life.
I think Calvin's
I would have to say
maybe
Paul.
apparently Calvin's an underrated putter.
That is
No, I don't hate it.
He's just the beast.
Almost top 3 and the
Putt
top
to save
3
my
are
life,
such a
I would agree.
toss-up. Because
Consistently
I
inside the
don't
circle
believe
this year.
Paul is the number 1 putter by any means. He's the best putter under pressure to make big stuff happen. But according to stats, playing first round,
you keep your little
through
numbers
third
to
round,
yourselves.
or even
He's making a valid argument.
fourth round. I think James is a better putter than Paul. I think
Never mind, it
Dickerson's
broke
a
down.
better putter than Paul.
His
I
argument's out the
even put Calvin
window.
a better putter than Paul.
One of those 3
Really?
names you would put, yes.
But when it comes down to it,
Are you gonna
Push
send
comes
this
to shove.
clip to him? He's already seen it.
or
Surely.
let's say taking skins,
Disc
making
golf
the
beef.
putt to win a tournament, it's got to be Paul. That's almost like a different category.
Yeah. We can make an extra category. Clutch. And let's put Paul in clutch.
And
Well, now you
Ricky
got to put so many other people in
That's
clutch.
so dumb.
Who's number 1
His
then?
video's gone off the rails.
Connor has been off this season.
What?
He's been missing so many putts. I don't think this season he can
Thank
go
you.
in the top 3.
No.
I think he can.
No. Yep.
Calvin could.
Yep.
Hey, I think you're.
And Chris could.
That was my
We're just going to put
mantis
Paul
here.
on top
I'll be
right
back.
now in the clutch.
All right, I'm making a big statement right
Mantis
now.
pickup.
I don't like to, say, put myself above anybody, but I'm gonna do it since we're making this video. I think I'm number 1.
Listen, I'll say this.
Wow.
Oh God, I hate that I said that.
I put myself in world class last week too. All right, Eagle number 1, Ricky number 2, and then number 3,
James.
one of these.
James.
No.
James over Chris and Kevin.
No.
And Calvin and Matt.
Over Kevin, maybe. Not over Calvin,
All
not
right.
over Chris. Over
Calvin-
Matt. I mean, Matt shouldn't
My
be in the almost
boy,
top 3.
my boy Calvin getting
Slim
slandered
margins.
left and right.
The dude's
All right,
dirty.
guys.
He's sick,
is
man.
the
He's
final
tall. He's so
I think
tall.
this is really good. I think Paul is obviously in the top 3 putters of all time. But you could also argue it's the weakest part of his game. A
No.
lot of the time, even though all parts of his game
Y'all are
obviously
whack.
are amazing. But I think we make an extra category for him as the most clutch putter, and when it counts, he's going to step up and make it more often than not, more than anyone else.
That was a cop out.
And then the solid group
Yeah.
obviously is full
I
of
want some
pros
ruthlessness.
who are hit and miss, but overall very
I
good
wanted to
putters.
see like
Obviously, all
a
of these guys are good
like in the
putters.
thumbnail you put shaky
Weakest
next to
part, a couple
Emerson.
people.
Like I wanted to see a shaky
Strongest part, only
category.
2 that weren't in the almost top 3 or top 3.
We should make a savage one.
And then I think this is a good think this is a great
We
tier
need to make
list.
an anonymous YouTube
We
channel.
Guys,
we
let
can
us know
come
what you
after
think.
any of these
People,
guys.
let's argue. What do you think? These are the top 32
They've just
pros
done the best 2
as
tier
of
lists
the Pro Tour
though.
rankings from last week.
We could
Tiered
do a
and
reaction
We could
to
by
it and be
putting
like, this is.
skills. So
We could do a tier
you
list of just
enjoyed.
greatest disc golfers of all time.
now we have a shot of the day that you all definitely enjoy.
Move to this.
And like and subscribe.
Wish us luck.
And wish us luck today. We're teeing off in like 2 hours.
Yeah, how'd that work? Yeah, we could do our GOAT list.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we can take both of those videos, start with Simon's list, and then move it to what we think.
Well, that first video we moved like 2 guys, we said.
Maybe just the putting one.
And that one,
Putting, I would have redone his categories.
honestly, well, yeah, the categories were not good. But honestly, I would have probably, when they first ended, I probably would have done like a couple switches and then it would have been fine. It wasn't that bad. But then there was some just weirdness.
I don't get. I mean,
They just, I don't
don't know.
understand. Putting is hard to calculate because, yeah, all those guys are capable.
they're all better putters than like
Anybody.
99.9
Yeah.
repeating percent of the world. But when you're comparing them to each other,
Right.
there's something to be said in there.
And putting is so streaky.
So let's really quick talk through USDGC a little bit, give you guys our initial reaction. We'll talk through it a little bit more on the podcast coming up this week. And then we'll field whatever questions you guys have for us. So be thinking up of questions. You can actually go ahead and start putting them in the comment box while we talk through USDGC. As we talk through USDGC, and then I'll pull some of the questions and we'll wrap up the show that way. So initial thoughts of the tournament itself, how things shook up, and who won both USDGC and WNC. Go.
Well, WNC, for starters, was a runaway show. It may not have quite looked that way because it kind of did stay close a little bit, but it was what we thought it would be. You know, you give Paige an open course like that, she's going to shred it.
Yeah.
She's going to run away. So we knew that was going to happen. The men's, the MPO, I should say, was what we expect out of the USDGC. It was chaos, absolute chaos. You got Anthony Barella comes out in the first round, shoots hot, and then blows up. That happened to a couple guys. And Paul was there. He was there, and then blew up. Didn't really blow up, but he kind of faded in the third round. And then the winners and all the guys that kind of finished up towards the top kind of came out of nowhere. Calvin really almost came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Almost stole it. It was crazy.
And especially that rain.
Yeah, the rain, the weather kicked in. It was like, it's still, USDGC still remains to be like this so hard to predict. And then, because then there's guys like Ricky who are like top 3 players in the world and just were not really doing all
He
that
did
much.
push up into.
He pushed up towards the end.
What did he come in? Like 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th?
He was somewhere around
He's
there.
somewhere in
but
there.
he wasn't
did push
really.
up. He was never in contention for the win.
Right. So like it's very difficult to predict. And listen, I said during the podcast that I didn't think Eagle McMahon was going to win because I didn't think Eagle McMahon knew how to win big events. He was in contention going into the last day, and he didn't win. That's all I'm saying.
First off, I want to say on the WNC, I don't think there's a lot to say because
No, it wasn't.
I mean after round
they
one,
were who we thought they were. It was
after round
Pierce
one,
is so good.
Paige Pierce shot 10 down. She already had a 4-stroke lead. She won by 4.
She's
like,
so good. Really fun
She's
to watch,
filthy.
though.
Yeah, it was. I actually watched more of the WNC. I think.
Well, it was in the morning.
Yeah, I think I
Their
watched more.
layout was fun to watch. Like it looked pretty much the same, but it like was achievable for them to score well. So like,
Yeah.
it was fun to watch.
I really enjoyed it. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of like shocking moments.
No.
Per se. On the USDGC side, though, I was super excited to see Chris take it down.
Yeah, good for him.
He's been, I think, deserving of this for a long time. He's absolute disgusting player on all fronts, and
he's real good.
one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. So I love when like someone who is just a super good guy, super nice, treats everyone well, treats everyone with respect. I love when players like that win. I know it might not be fun for the sport. Like if Nico would have won, you would have had people ticked and, whatever. But there is something to be said where like a guy that everyone can get behind and like wins. I like that.
Yeah.
Secondly, Calvin Heimberg freaking stormed back
He's a problem.
and really lost it on 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. His putt, did you get to see that putt?
No.
His putt on 17, he freaking missed the island, threw his second shot onto the island, threw his putt, it hits the top of the cage like this. Like if it was like an inch more this way, it's in. Hits the top of the cage, pops up, rolls OB, which as we talked about in the podcast week before,
re-putt.
it's a re-putt, which he misses, taps out, ends up losing by, I think, one technically because Chris got the layup.
Right.
But I mean, you know, USDGC always delivers on walking into 17. There's pressure on everyone in contention.
It's the only hole I've ever really seen at a tournament where like you could go in there with a 4-stroke lead, literally like 4 strokes, and I would still be like, "Hey, you still got to hit that island, maybe even more strokes." I mean, what did Johnny McRae have, like 6 strokes at one time?
Yeah, something like that.
You just never know what's gonna happen.
It's amazing, and plus the 3.5 minute walk up to it.
It's like the best hole ever.
It's amazing.
So
and
good.
the thing about it is, it's so simple.
I know.
It's so simple, but
That's the essence of that
it's
event.
simple until you have pressure, and the amount of pressure you have. Like Chris stepped up to that hole, literally, like he had to put it on the island. Pretty much, he could have missed the island one time and still been able to force a playoff, or still been able to win. But realistically, he needed to put it on the island. And you have all that pressure of never winning a major, you know, your first time like about to win a USDGC, you know, which is in my opinion the hardest major to win.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong there, but I think it is.
No,
I feel like it is. Like, because I feel like if it wasn't, then the most consistently best players of the world would win it more often.
Right. Yeah. I mean, anytime a major is always at the same course, it's going to be harder because, like, if World Championships move around, so it might just be that one course that certain year is right in your wheelhouse. Like, you are so good at that course. Whereas the European Open in this one, for example, like, it's going to be the same course. So, like, you're just going to have to learn to beat it.
Yeah. And there's so much that can go wrong between, like, there's inches sometimes between a perfect shot and an OB shot. But to step up there and put it on the island, and then as soon as you put it on the island, you probably don't take a sigh of relief because you can still blow up on 18. But me as a viewer, as soon as he put it on the island, I was watching with my wife, and I was like, all right, Chris won.
Yeah.
It's over. Like, he just did it. And it was super exciting to watch, super fun. I wish I could have been down there. It sucks, but it is what it is. You know, 2020 is just that year. So we also next week have, or this week, shoot, it starts soon.
Yeah.
The Pro Tour finale. They're going to see some seriously high payouts. It's also going to be featured on ESPN2
Eventually.
in November.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said they were aiming for like a Thanksgiving-ish week airtime. Is disc golf being on ESPN2 a bigger deal than being on CBS Sports?
Yeah, for sure. Because CBS Sports, it's not like CBS Sports is a newer network, so like, I mean, now ESPN isn't what it used to be, but it's still a pretty big deal. And CBS, like, if it was on CBS, like, that's one thing. But ESPN2 is literally ESPN's second network.
Yeah, I think
like,
the thing about it is, like,
it's not like ESPN News or ESPNU. It's their second network.
Like CBS Sports isn't on everyone who has
Right.
satellite TV.
It's a more broadly available channel, ESPN2.
ESPN2 is, yeah. It's not as broadly available as a CBS or an ABC where it's just like, if you got 7, 10, or 13, you got it.
Right.
But it is like that next step up. And I think it's interesting because CBS Sports didn't release their ratings. So this is still a test.
Mm-hmm.
Like ESPN2 is still kind of testing it. Like
curious,
they're just seeing the ratings, seeing what happens with it.
Curious to see how they present it compared to CBS.
I also like the idea that it's a 2-hour broadcast, an hour dedicated to the men's final round and an hour dedicated to the women's final round. And then I guess probably like the trophy presentation will be a part of it kind of at the end. I don't know what the order will be, if they'll go FPO first then an MPO, or if I think it'd be a bad idea to mix them together. Yeah. They've got to go one and then the other. So I don't exactly know what that is all going to look like, but I do know that it's going to be, the Pro Tour kind of made a stance with the payout and with the coverage, and that it's going to be equal time and equal payout to both the players, or both MPO and FPO.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that was something that was not the payout side, but the time allotted was something that was complained about with DDO coverage,
Yeah.
which I can understand to a certain degree, but the other side of it was like they weren't. I don't know. It wasn't like a dedicated MPO and FPO like time slot. It was we're covering this
it's
event.
CBS's call at the end of the day. So
Well, was it?
for sure.
I don't think it was.
About how much of the MPO and FPO they showed,
Yeah.
it for sure was CBS's call, or at least very much negotiated with them.
I mean, I'm sure they had talks within it.
I
But-
think they were probably the last ones to make that decision.
Regardless, I think that this will get a better response from the disc golf world. Whether or not it gets a better response from the outside world,
Yeah.
we'll probably never know because we won't know the ratings.
Right.
But I think it will get a better response from the disc golf world. And the disc golf world loved the CBS Sports broadcast, the one that could
Mhm.
see it.
Yeah.
There just that was the only complaint I heard, was that there wasn't as much FPO as we could have shown.
Yeah.
This one's going to be equal right down the middle, so that'll take away that complaint. I'm sure people will find something else to complain about.
Most definitely.
But, I mean, the Disc Golf Pro Tour is also making a decision that we'll talk about more on the podcast of keeping up the live and post-production for this event, which I
Yeah.
think is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because,
It's gonna draw viewers away.
yeah, you want
ESPN.
to put all your eggs, because this is ESPN2's testing.
Yeah.
Again, they don't have the CBS Sports Network numbers, so they're testing what is disc golf going to be like, how's it going to show, and when you're going to pull hundreds of thousands of viewers that are going to already watch the Pro Tour finale through Jomez, you're
Yeah.
pulling them from. Now, people like me will watch ESPN2 because I want to make sure my view is counted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I just want to see it.
Yeah, and I want to see it on
Yeah.
ESPN2.
Yeah.
But other people who just want to watch the event, they might just watch it on Jomez, and then that's that. So I think you're losing some viewership that could be very important going forward.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
It might not affect anything. I could be just an idiot, rambling babbling. What am I trying to say? I don't know. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for those two topics. So now we'll field a few questions if you guys have them. If you don't have them, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. There is a question here from Three Maybes. What would be Paul's least favorite style of course? I would say
Style, of course.
open, like ball golf course,
Yeah.
because I think that gives Paul the least advantage over the field.
Yeah.
I think Paul has the biggest advantage when he can throw tight technical shots.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say ball golf course.
Because I think woods golf makes you be consistent and hit lines with power,
right.
and that's something that Paul is very good at. So when you get in the open, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit more, because if you're missing lines a little bit here and there, you're not as punished
sure. Yeah.
as you are when you're in the woods.
I would agree with that.
So I would say that's probably true.
There's probably a lot
but-
of pros who feel that way.
I would imagine there's probably other pros that feel the other way. Like, I mean, I can't really say this about Eagle anymore. You used to be able to, but like Simon, Eagle, probably Drew Gibson, players that just have the distance
Right.
advantage over the field per se. Like Garrett Gurphy, they'd probably prefer the more open course because that gives them their advantage. Whereas
Sure.
Paul's advantage is technical golf, their advantage is distance golf.
Yeah.
But that might not fully be true. Someone said, us in Europe can't see ESPN2, so we need Jomez and such. I think it would still be released on Jomez. Like the DDO just got dropped.
It would just be delayed.
It'd be delayed. I think holding it until the broadcast had already happened is important. And Disc Golf Network would have it live.
Yeah.
I don't think the Disc Golf Network live coverage necessarily hurts because I don't know. I when you're watching live, it's a lot different than watching post, because post you're sitting down, you're like watching each shot. Live, it's kind of like you have it on in the background, and when something exciting happens or as it comes down the wire, you watch it closer.
Right.
But I mean, another thing, what do you think about Jomez releasing the DDO coverage during USDGC week?
Yeah.
I think they were just taking advantage of people really wanting to watch disc golf if they didn't pay 20, 30, or $40
right.
to watch USDGC.
I mean, I think it was the right time to release it. That was smart.
yeah.
It was definitely a little shot at USDGC, I think, but I don't know. They never tell you that.
No, I want to. I'll have to look up how that video is doing compared to a similar tournament. Like, is it getting more views? It's gonna be hard to tell because they just dropped it, so you don't have the like longevity factor in.
Right.
But I would be interested to see if that
If it
it
helped or
was
hurt it.
clearly it had to be a calculated thing because they
yeah.
they could have held it till next week after the Pro Tour finale, then
Mhm.
don't drop it.
Yeah.
But it was clearly a thing of like, all right, we're not going to be at USDGC. We're still going to drop it for our fans. I don't mind it. I'm not upset.
It's their content.
I think it was smart. I
Sure.
probably would have done it.
Yeah, I would have.
I might have even added USDGC like
into the title.
put that in a little hashtag.
Oh, added them. Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. Nick Stasio said you guys should film either Paul or Brody and do like a daily routine in the week leading up to their tournament. It's not as exciting as you would think.
Yeah.
I've been on tour a few different times with Paul, and once with Brody for 2 weeks. And it's pretty much just like relax, make sure they get plenty of sleep. A lot of times Paul, after the tournament day's over, he looks for an escape room or something like that to do. But the day leading up to the tournament, it's, wake up, eat a little bit of breakfast, kind of chill, hang out, and then get to the course like an hour and a half before. And if you're wondering what Paul does before his round, like his warm-up routine, we did a video at Worlds last year, I believe. I think it was last year, where we just kept track of like how many putts did he throw, how many putter shots, fairway, mid, forehands, all of that, and what time he did it after he showed up to the course, like what his exact warm-up was. We did that at Worlds last year, so you can, if you scroll back far enough on our channel or even search it, you should be able to find that for his exact warm-up routine. And he doesn't have a set number.
No.
Like, he's not like, all right, I'm gonna show up, hit 150 putts, then go throw. He just kind of
Whatever he's feeling.
yeah, and he putts a lot more than he does anything else before his round, which
Yeah.
makes sense. And I think his warm up might change course to course. If he's warming up for a tight wooded course, it might be different than an open course. But that video does exist. Some people might not know that. Just a question: since we're watching putters rating, I putt with a Luna and a Brody Roach. Is it best to just stick to one putter versus two different?
Yeah, typically yes, but some guys now the Luna and the Roach are very similar.
Especially the Luna and the Brody Roach are in the same plastic.
Right. So some guys have two different putters, one that's a bit more seasoned for like their longer range putts. So like you probably are getting a similar effect if like one of those putters is slightly straighter, probably the Roach, I think, right? Is a bit more straight.
It should be. Yeah.
So in your situation, that makes sense. Some guys like will have putters that maybe are more stable for headwinds. Typically, they're the same mold, just different stages of wear. But it's not necessarily because the Roach and the Luna are so similar. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, if you're rotating back and forth between them inside the circle for like no real reason, then I wouldn't recommend it. I've now personally, even though I don't like, I've switched putters all the time, and like for me, it doesn't. I'm not a good enough putter to notice a huge difference. I don't think it harms your game that much to be switching back and forth, but like within your bag, like I said, it's fine to have different putters for different length putts if that's what works for you. But you should probably, like, if you have a 20-foot putt with no wind, it should always be the same putter.
Yeah, I think
You definitely want to take everything out of your putting that you like. You want to control everything within your putting that you can.
You don't want anything that you can blame your putting on.
Right.
You don't want anything to be like, oh, well, that was because I used my Roach this time instead of my Luna.
Right, yeah.
So I'm very particular. Like right now I have a white putter and a blue putter in my bag.
Oh, boy.
I refuse to putt with both inside the circle. So I use my blue outside and my white inside always.
I've done that before, yeah.
And that is simply because the same thing. I don't want ever to be like, oh, well, this blue putter is why I'm missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done that before.
If I can get matching putters, then I use them interchangeably. But if they're two different colors, I use one exclusively inside and one exclusively outside. I refuse to change that up.
Yeah, I would. That's funny because it was maybe 2 years ago, I had PA3s and I had a blue one and a red one, and I would switch back and forth based on which one was going in that
Yeah,
day.
so you don't want to start playing that game.
And like my doubles partner would be like, "Oh, here comes old blue again. This one's not going in." Like, it was so funny.
Yeah, you don't want to start playing that game. So
I lived.
I would say whichever one you seem to like more inside the circle, stick to that one. If you want to have the other one for outside the circle, you can. I actually, if you go far enough back, I putted with PA3s inside the circle and a Warlock outside the circle. Or no, a Voodoo outside the circle. It was flippier and it seemed to hold straighter for me. So I've done that before, but I think it's going to be better for your mental game to stick to one inside, and possibly if you want to keep both in your bag, do one outside. But if you have one that you like, maybe the Roach you like, it's a little bit more rounded. That's like the only difference, but it flies a little straighter. If you like that feel more, stick to that one straight up, and then
either of those putters are gonna do the job.
You could also it's not like either of them are bad putters.
Right. Yeah.
They're both going to fly true to their flight.
Yeah.
You could also use one as a throwing putter and one as a putting putter.
True.
Which I would probably pick. Actually, no, they're both
throw.
good.
Yeah.
They're just, it's whatever you prefer. What do upcoming drops look like? The soonest drop is the 16th, which is 4 days from now. Which is the Zone, Brody Roach, and Stock Run, Hades, the Halloween Buzz, and the full foil thing. Full foil Halloween Buzz and the Brody Get Freaky Zone. We're waiting for them to come in before we fully determine early access, stuff like that, because we want to make sure we have enough. They're a stock run. So that's one thing that like I think some people it hasn't been super clear on is they are stock. So like if you as a Patreon or a patron don't get it on the initial drop, I would highly recommend don't go to the aftermarket and pay $40+
Is that except for the Halloween buzzes though?
The Halloween Buzz, that's true.
Yeah.
The Halloween Buzz is a one-time run. So if you really want to glow Halloween Buzz, but for as far as all the Brody stuff and the Hades, us and other websites will be restocking, so don't get suckered into it being like the super hype drop to where you miss it, because I can tell that's happening right now is a lot of people are getting suckered into like, oh, this is another Get Freaky drop. It's not. It's a stock. So like it's as long as Brody's on Discraft, this is going to exist to my knowledge. So like there's no need to freak out if you don't get it. Just wait it out a little bit and then you'll get it. So make sure you're not going on to Dolly Disc Golf Auction and bidding $70 and then getting ticked next week when we have more in. But depending on how much come in, we might still be able to give patrons early access. It doesn't seem like there's any restrictions from Discraft on that. I just want to, I don't like when we post something publicly of like, this is dropping. I'm always worried that if we don't because Discraft is still behind from COVID. That's why our shelves are empty. Infinite shelves are not empty, but kind of OTBs the same way with when it comes to Discraft, which is all we carry. That's why we're running low. It's just Discraft is still trying to get caught up from COVID. So when it comes to a drop like this, your order could get cut, and they tell you that up front. So if our order gets cut and we get fewer than we originally hoped for or ordered, then there is a chance that it would sell out to the people who have early access. And we want to avoid that if possible, simply because it's not going to be a good look if I say they're dropping at, let's say, 5 p.m., which I will post the official drop time once we have all this figured out. If I say this is dropping at 5 p.m., and then I drop it to the patrons who have early access like 10 minutes earlier and they're gone, that's going to cause a lot of ticked off people. Right. And especially a drop like this where they're stock, and the majority of people, I don't think people really want early access to the Halloween buzzes. So the other stuff that's stock, I don't want to tick off a whole audience just because of a stock disc. That just doesn't really make sense. So it's going to depend on what we get in. We should be clear as far as the Discraft side goes to do early access as long as we get what we ordered. Outside of that, custom stamping is still shut down indefinitely. I've heard probably Q1 of 2021. So we have a ton of stamps in the docket. So once it opens back up, we have some you're going to love what we have in store type of stamps. They're sick. Our design team killed it back in July when they were designing these. But we just haven't been able to order them. So when it opens back up, we're going to have a lot, and it's going to come fast, and they're going to come, heavy with some sick designs, but that won't be for a little while. So in the meantime, we have some clothing coming up that we just ordered. For the Get Freaky tiers, we're going to keep getting creative on what exactly we do for that. I have some ideas in mind for this month, and again, it's going to depend on how many of these discs come in. But I have some creative ideas that I think we will be able to kind of pull off. So if that's the case, we'll let you guys know as soon as possible. But when it comes to like exclusive custom stamps, that's not happening the rest of this year, it seems like, unfortunately. So let's see here. What is the process you guys use to sponsor a player on Team Foundation? What are the key things you look for? So this has changed since we officially sponsored our 2020 team. Previous years, we weren't not that we weren't big, but we weren't as big with our social media following and stuff. So we would just make a post, say, hey, applications are open. And then at that time, Zach and I would sit down and go through every single application, read every single application, and then we would star the ones that stood out. That's probably not going to happen this year. I don't know exactly what our process is going to be. We're happy with our team we have right now. Everyone seems to be doing a great job. We threw a few curveballs at them. We do have to figure out some things because in the course of this year, we went from carrying all brands to carrying only Discraft, and some of our players were throwing mainly Innova. Some of them I think have even gotten picked up by Innova throughout the course of this year. So we have to figure out that stuff. But for the most part, the biggest things that we're looking at is social media following and good standing in your own disc golf community, because I think those are the two biggest things that could make a good impact for our brand. Because, if someone can push us on social media and bring in a new audience, that's good. And we don't want people who have a bad reputation in their community. We want people who are running tournaments, hosting weeklies, doing clinics, all that stuff. We do not look at ratings or what division people play in. We don't care about that because, unless you're a top tier pro, your play isn't selling a disc.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we care about what you do on social media and what you do in your community, which, realistically, that should make it a little bit easier to be on the team, I think, than if we cared only about we don't sponsor a player who's not 1,000 rated or whatever. And I think this is going to be the last question because we're getting pretty close to 5 o'clock. We'll do this last question, and then I'll check Discord for if anyone's in the audio. Doesn't look like anyone is right now, but if you wanted to be, jump in the green room, and I can drag you up into podcast live if you wanted to ask a question live on air. But we're going to we have 2 questions. I'm going to take both of them because one we can answer kind of quickly, and then this other one I think will take a little more time. So the first one, have you guys considered doing a video touring courses around the state of Virginia? I mean, I would love to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, the hard part, I feel like we've played most of the courses within an hour, at least once on our channel. The hard part is courses outside of that, because then you have to take like a full day
Right.
to get there, shoot whatever it is, and then come back. The course I want to play, whether it be on the channel or not, is Lake Marshall.
Lake Marshall.
And there's 2 courses there, which is even more difficult because I don't know if I could throw 2 courses in a day right now. But maybe one Saturday we'll just have to make a trip. It's like 3 hours away, which sucks. But if it's as good as everyone says it is, it might be worth it.
It's got a lot of hype.
That's like 6 hours of driving in a day.
Yeah. I want to go play Walnut Creek again.
Walnut Creek's, we haven't done that on the channel ever, somehow. That one will be soon.
Yeah.
Because that's an easy one, hour and 15 minutes.
So fun.
Yeah, I love Walnut Creek. We'll have to go out to that one. I mean, we could probably do a little bit more in Roanoke, but again, it's an hour away. So when normally our days look like we fill orders until, well, he fills orders. I do social media, like editing videos and stuff like that until like 12 or 1 on shooting days, and then we go shoot a video in the afternoon and try to be done by like 5 or 5:30. So planning in going to Roanoke or somewhere like that becomes harder. But if we did it on a day where we didn't have a lot of orders, or on a day like a weekend where we're not taking the orders in, that might be a more realistic thing. And the final question here, unless someone jumps into the green room for a live question, Michael Fowler, in your opinion, are rangefinders actually going to find a permanent spot in disc golf? What are your personal opinions on them? And I'm asking this because we had our debate in the podcast. And I want to know, have either of our opinions changed? So first off, do they have a permanent spot in the sport? And secondly, do you like them or not on the professional level?
Honestly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I really I've been watching live coverage and I haven't been seeing people using them.
Not a lot of people are using them right now, no.
Yeah. So to answer, do I like them? I never really did like them, but they're not a big enough of a deal right now for me to really care. So I'll say that. Do they have a permanent place in the sport? No, I don't. Well, depends on what that place is. For top level pros, I don't think that they've all been running to grab them and use them. And I think if they were that much of an advantage, then they would be. But I do think that they're useful tools, especially when plotting out courses and designing them. I think that's when they're most useful, honestly. I'll say too early to say on really both of those. Honestly, it's a little too early for me to say.
So I really like rangefinders, and I think more pros should be using them right now because it's a tool that you are allowed to use. It's a big advantage to you to use. So I don't know why you're not using it. But on the flip side of that coin, I don't think they have a permanent spot in the sport because as the sport gets bigger, we're going to have more detailed caddy books and caddies. And when that happens, that's when rangefinders can go. Because once caddy books are saying from this landmark to the basket is 350 feet and stuff like that, once the caddy books are detailed like golf caddy books are,
yeah,
then there's no point in a rangefinder.
Yeah, I mean, caddies still use them though to supplement those books to a degree.
Also, when we have caddies that can go out and say, okay, I'm Paul Macbeth's caddy. I know Paul's drive really likes to land around this area off the tee. Let's shoot that. Okay, it's 350 to the pin. I'm taking that note down. And he's walking the whole course by himself and doing that so that when Paul lands there, he already has that shot. Then a rangefinder shouldn't be used because that's a part of the prep. But right now, without caddies and with caddy books literally being the distance from the tee pad to the basket, and the occasional this far towards the basket, but not a consistent thing, then I think they should be used and taken advantage of because I think that that's a big advantage in the sport, and I think it's something that will help a lot of players think through their shots, and personally, I think it'll speed up some play. Personally. I know people disagree with that, but I think if you're stepping up to a shot and you don't know what to throw, boom, okay, it's 350,
yeah, that's
my buzz, or whatever it is.
It just depends on how many players play like that. I'm not a guy that really... I'm very much visual. I'm not there's some players that, and maybe a lot of people that come from ball golf who are I know this is my 150-foot disc and stuff like that. I've never been that way. I'm look at the target and I know what I need to throw to get there. I'm very much a feel player, which is odd because I played ball golf before disc golf, and I'm a little bit more of a feel-based ball golfer too. So some people, I've seen some people come into disc golf and literally will write distances on the back of their disc.
See, I don't go that far, but I do I'm really a feel player to a certain degree, but it's more of okay, I looks like I'm 350, so that's either a hard buzz or a soft fairway.
Yeah. I guess the thing is for me though too, I've always, for some reason with my game, there's literally a 150-foot difference between my putter and my distance drivers. So there's not a whole lot of decision making to be made.
That's fair.
I can throw a putter 300 feet, and my furthest drives are going about 450. So there's not a whole lot of difference.
I guess that's true. That's true as well. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this week's follow-up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you missed it at the beginning, we did ask for some opinions on whether or not you would watch a Foundation Gaming channel on Twitch.
Just say yes for our sake.
Yeah, more or less. We're probably going to start it either way.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Why not? We enjoy playing video games, and, some people might enjoy watching us play those video games. We're not very good at them. Although I will say I'm the best at Call of Duty that I've ever been in my life, but that doesn't mean it's good.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. But other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for your support. Stay tuned to our social media and to Patreon and Discord. I'll be posting the details about the drops on all of those places as far as the get free keys and stuff like that go. And it's all just going to depend on, like I said, how many we get in, whether or not people are going to be able to get early access or what all it's going to look like. But I will let you guys know ahead of time so you can plan if you plan on shopping with us for that drop. I know some of you probably already have pre-orders in with other people. That is a risk I was not willing to take because, again, nobody, unless they've gotten them in, which I've seen some people literally posting pictures of them and be like, oh, it's a pre-order. I'm like, that's not a pre-order. You're Never mind. Unless people have gotten them in, pre-orders can't be guaranteed. And I'm not the type of person that likes to anymore. I used to take that risk with Foundation. I don't anymore because one or two times our order had to be cut because of how many orders they got in, and then that leads to people buying a disc that we don't have. Then that's the risk you take with pre-orders, and that's a risk we're not taking. So Friday, I'll post the official drop time by like Thursday or so once we know the whole plan for it, and I'll let you guys know exactly what it's going to look like. So, and then the clothes that we have coming in are pretty sick looking. Maybe next week's follow-up, I'll give you a little sneak preview into those. It's a lot of stuff that we've never done before. And I think you guys will like them.
They're
I
pretty
love 'em.
sick, yeah.
I'm going to wear each and every one all the time. It's probably going to be my whole wardrobe, but it is a more fall winter line. So we'll see. I'll tease them next week in the follow-up possibly. But that's a few weeks out. So thanks again, guys, for your support and for watching, and we will talk to you guys next week.